Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about the feeling of I'm not good enough. And this is a core belief that I've had for a very long time, and it's something that I struggle with every day. And challenging this core belief is very difficult for me to do. And this is probably not going to be one of the happier videos that I make, despite me wearing yellow today, but I'm making this video to hopefully help other people who have similar thoughts when things don't go well, or um, just in general when you're struggling with a feeling of worthlessness or helplessness. And so, um, the thing that I'm currently working on is cognitive behavioral therapy, and I've been reading books about it and doing practice exercises in it, and I came across one exercise that I think is very helpful and I hope can help more people out there who struggle with these types of feelings. And that is, when you come across these types of automatic negative thoughts, ANTs, um, just recognize that it is not a behavior that I think you want to be having. It is not a cognition you want to have either. And to give a little bit of background for cognitive behavioral therapy, it's basically a framework in which we try to teach people how to be their own therapists so that when they have cognitions arise in their head that are not healthy or not what that person would want to have in their head, they can recognize these cognitions before they influence and impact their behaviors. And to give an example of how this works, someone who is depressed is likely going to be having a lot of very negative cognitions. And because these negative cognitions are so dark, it keeps that person from really getting out. And, um, to give an example situation, when, people are looking to go out today or not, someone who is very depressed is going to have a feeling of I'm not worth it and I'm not worthy. And so, because I'm not worthy, I shouldn't do anything today. I should just stay inside and mope. And as much as we like to say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and, get back on the horse and keep going, um, breaking out of this positive feedback loop that people have of being depressed, in which I'm not doing anything, therefore I'm not worthy, so I'm not doing anything, I'm not doing anything, so I'm not worthy. And it just becomes this huge snowball, and it's very detrimental to this person. And the reason why philosophically I feel like I can even say that is because I think if you were to ask people who are depressed, is this really a life that you want to be living? And I cannot speak for those people, but I would assume that their answer would be no. Do people like feeling pain? And I think the answer is most of us do not like feeling pain. Most of us want to be, most of us want to have a feeling of fulfillment and meaning and purpose in life. And when you become depressed, that's when you lose that sentiment. And so the question here, and this is a question and a challenge that I face, is how do you begin to reinterpret this feeling of I'm not worthy, or I'm worthless, or I'm not good enough? And this was a challenge that I think a lot of people in college faced, uh, where it really got turned up, especially when I was at UC Berkeley, and you really don't do that great on midterms or finals or projects, even though you did your best and you put in as much time as you could. And, the evidence would suggest that you're not someone who is worthy of getting an A. You're not that kind of kid anymore who's the top of their class. And, you just start beating yourself up so quickly. And so, what really helps me in this situation is to, number one, put away your phone, put away your computer, just take out a pen and a piece of paper or a pencil, I don't care, anything used to write, just not electronic. And the first thing that I would recommend doing is just, number one, write down the thought or feeling that you have in your head and try to capture it on paper so that you can see visually what is going on in your head right now. And so in this case, this feeling that you're struggling with is, I am not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve anything. And so you can very quickly just capture this on paper and get it out of your head. The next thing here that is challenging and takes a lot of practice to do is to begin to look at this thought and then say, well, how would I disprove this? How would I show that I'm not someone who is unworthy? And a lot of times, especially at this point in my life, I think the way that you get to this point is by looking for external sources of validation. And by that, I mean, when you are saying things like, I'm not good enough, one of the important things to remind yourself is that every single one of us has a family or friend or many family members or friends who care about us, who love us despite our flaws. And, for me, and this is where the video gets a little bit dark, or not dark, but just hard, is like knowing that no matter what happens or no matter what I do, I still have a mom who loves me, and she's told me time and again how proud she is of me and how far I've come and the kind of struggles and challenges that I've faced in life. And that's really kind of the first thing that I like to go to just help calm myself down when I start feeling like I'm not good enough. And I think that moment at which you're able to change the thought or feeling of not being good enough and then start seeing it in terms of, I am good enough because there is at least one person out there who loves me or who cares about me and who's there for me. That's when, I think things really start to get better. I'm sorry if I'm crying a little bit, but it's really hard stuff. And, it's, I don't want to get into specifics because I don't think these videos should be too personal, but yeah, I'm just, being able to write down and get out of your mind the negative thoughts you have, and then start to really critically analyze them and look at them how you would look at them if you were consoling one of your friends, is probably the best way I can put this. If you saw your friend having a bad day, you're probably the kind of person who would be there to help them out, to remind them that they're not worthless, that they are worth something. They're worth something to you because you're there, because you care about them and what they're doing. And so this gets to self-compassion and how important it is for us to be able to start looking and thinking and feeling towards ourselves the way we would feel towards our friends or our family members or people who we love. And love is a incredibly complicated subject that I don't really think I'm well versed in, but I would say that getting to a point at which you can truly love yourself the way you love your mom or your dad or your family or your dog, or whatever, your partner, that is challenging. And that is something that I have yet to get to. I'm 23 years old, and it is one of my biggest challenges. Anyways, continuing on with the exercise, I think that once you've captured your negative thought, you've responded to it, you have a response that is valid, that you can, the objective part of your brain, not the emotional part, but the objective part of your brain, the logical part of your brain can accept is the truth. You have people out there who love you, you have a family and friends, is to also begin to just build on that and think about the other things you do in life. And for me, I care a lot about my work. I am a workaholic in many ways and a problem solver. And so, one of the other things that I come back to is, I know my mom loves me and I know my mom's proud of me for everything that I do. is also knowing that, if you have a job right now, it's reminding yourself that you have a job, you have an employer who values you and your time and is willing to pay you for doing what you do and for being there and doing your best. And so that's something that is another source of external validation when you're beating yourself up. Um, and in the case of graduate programs or any program you're applying to, if you're applying to jobs or med schools or grad schools, it's knowing that you are putting yourself out there, and I guarantee if you work hard enough and just keep trying, you will hear back from some people who will be interested in you. And reminding yourself to not disqualify the positive, reminding yourself to not only focus on the bad, or to not just focus on the bad, but to also focus on the good, begins to put things into perspective. And when you can tell yourself that there are good things going on in your life, such as, people are interested in hearing what you have to say, or people are interested in hearing more about you and they're willing to invite you to an interview. These are other sources of validation. And so, you know, when you're in university and you're beating yourself up because you didn't do that well on a midterm or a final or a report or something, just being able to sit there and remind yourself that you got into that university in the first place and you were a competitive applicant and you fought and you wrote that essay or essays and you took the SATs or you put in the time to get the right GPA and take the prereqs and whatever to get to where you are now. You have done a lot, you have accomplished a lot, and people are valuing that. Even though it feels like you are now drowning, you're not drowning because you are competing at a high level and things will be uncomfortable and challenging because, number one, you are changing as a person. You're becoming more mature and more well rounded and better at critically thinking and presenting to others that you are someone who can understand complex ideas. And so, just know that change hurts, change is disruptive. You are changing as a person. That's the reason why a lot of this hurts right now. And then for me personally, um, this whole YouTube channel thing was originally just an exercise in me trying to get better at talking. But the more time that's gone by and the more I've thought about it, the more I realize that part of the reason why I like making these videos is that there are some people out there who actually do listen and do appreciate what I have to say, and I do get some negative people from time to time, but at the same time, I'm really glad to see that some people out there find some value or some meaning from what I have to say, and that really means a lot to me. And I hope that these videos are useful. And yeah, I hope that this video is useful or helpful to you. And I know we all go through bad moments in life, and yeah, someone told me recently how life will always have its ups and downs, and it was showing a picture of a heartbeat, and the answer was like, if you're not seeing ups and downs, that means you're dead. So there's always going to be highs and there's always going to be lows, and how you come back from the lows is what defines you as a person. And just know that you're someone who can and will bounce back from the challenges and struggles that you face because you are strong. And if nothing else, just know that I'm really proud of you. And life is very challenging and complicated. And, if you think about it too much, it'll make your head blow up. So it's just kind of like finding a balance between living in the moment and feeling, and then also thinking about what's going on and where you're going. And yeah, I hope this helps, and thank you for watching.